Well, it's been a while, Giants fans, but your team is back in the postseason, and now the Big Blue has returned to the playoffs. There's a lot to dissect in terms of this improbable turnaround for this team. So let's dissect with New York Post sports columnist Steve Serby. Steve, how's your weekend going?
Fantastic, Dex. I'm here with you. What could be bad about that?
All right, listen, it's good. And we're going to kick off the new year talking some Giants football. Happy New Year to you. And Steve, the Giants, they've gone from 4-13 in 2021 to a playoff spot the following year. How much of the credit of this turnaround goes to first-year head coach Brian Daboll?
About 99.99%. John Mara has been looking for a guy like Brian Daboll for what seems like an eternity. Brian Daboll got the old Tom Coughlin, Bill Parcells Gatorade bath today from Jihad Ward. Brian Daboll has taught the Giants how to win, has dragged them up from rock bottom, has taught Daniel Jones how to be a professional winning quarterback. When Daboll arrived, he said he was not going to make Daniel Jones into Josh Allen, but he was going to make Daniel Jones into the best version of Daniel Jones. And we've seen that all season, and we saw that today. And the Giant fans who booed Daniel Jones on draft day were chanting his name today. And Daboll sent them out for a curtain call. And Daniel Jones will be the quarterback of the future. And Brian Daboll gets the credit for that. Daniel Jones says he is indebted to Brian Daboll for making him the player that he has become.
What amazing turnaround for the Giants and for Jones, too, as you mentioned. Now, it was also a complete regime change for the G-men heading into this season. New head coach, but also a new general manager in Joe Schoen. How much credit does John Mara deserve for picking what appears to be the right guys to lead this franchise forward?
Well, after all the years of John Mara getting it wrong, he got it right this time. He blew it up, blew the whole thing up. After Joe Judge, he hired Ben McAdoo, to replace Tom Coughlin. Then he hired Pat Shurmur to replace McAdoo. Then he hired Joe Judge to replace Shurmur. And none of them lasted longer than 2 years. So he said, this time I'll do it differently. I'll hire a GM and let him hire the coach. And Joe Schoen knew what he had in Brian Daboll, having worked with him in Buffalo. And they hit a home run. And from the very beginning, Brian Daboll, when he went for the two-point conversion in Tennessee and made it, he sent a message to his team that we're not going to play scared. And that sent a jolt of trust and electricity through the entire team. And they have played to win and played with passion and played smart, tough, dependable football and fight for each other. And again, that's a credit to John Mara for finally getting it right. And he choked today as I was walking with him in the bowels of MetLife Stadium. He told me and several other reporters, columnists, that now when he walks out to the parking lot, he doesn't have to hear, "You suck, sell the team."
Wow.
So he is no longer the most miserable man in New York. Good for John Mara. He deserves it.
I'm glad.
Number one Giants fan, son of Wellington. He bleeds Giant blue, and after 6 years, he's back in the playoffs. Good for him.
Yeah, I'm glad for him. Glad he doesn't even hear that anymore, being insults shouted at him as he's going to his car in the parking lot of MetLife Stadium. Much better times for John Mara. Now, the Giants, they're locked into the 6th seed, Steve, in the NFC playoffs. Do you think the Big Blue needs a good showing in the postseason, or is this season already a success and they're just playing with house money here in the playoffs?
Oh, no. Well, they'll never admit it, of course, but they're playing with house money. This season is a resounding success. It would have been a success even if they hadn't made the playoffs. I thought they'd win maybe 5-6 games. You know, when Joe Schoen took over, he had a salary cap nightmare on his hands. But Isaiah Hodgins sums up how valuable Joe Schoen is as a personnel man. Former 6th-round pick of the Bills. Joe Schoen picked him up a couple of months ago. Hodgins knows the system. working under Daboll in Buffalo, and what a godsend he has been. He has a chance to be, I would think, a number 2 receiver for Daniel Jones, and you better believe that Joe Shane will get Daniel Jones a number 1 receiver. And for Giant fans, it's got to be exciting to dream about how much better Daniel Jones can get with a second year in Brian Daboll's system, with a quality number 1 receiver and an even more upgraded offensive line. So the Giants are ascending finally. John Mara can finally say that the Giants are on the right path, and it's going to be no winter of discontent for John Mara or Giant fans, no matter what happens in the playoffs. If they play the 49ers, forget it. I'm picking the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl against the Bills. That was my preseason pick. I don't think they have a chance against the Niners, against that defense. But they can beat the Vikings. I really believe that. I think, Dex, you believe that too.
I do believe that too. I think the Giants could win that game, yeah.
The foundation has been built. The Giants are a playoff team with a rookie head coach who should have been a head coach a lot sooner than this. And no matter what happens from here on out, this season is a smashing success.
I think a lot of Giants fans, Steve, feel that way. The season, absolute success. The New York Giants are back in the playoffs, first time since 2016. That is Steve Serby. You know, he'll be covering the Giants and a lot of stuff throughout the playoffs, and we'll see how that goes for Big Blue. Steve, thank you as always for the time. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thanks, Dex.